Heart-wrenching story, Whispers of the Wild. In the rugged expanses of the highlands, where jagged peaks meet windswept valleys, there dwelled a creature as enigmatic as the silent stones, an elusive Manuel, known in whispered legends as the ghost of the wild. Its soft, furred form roamed the ancient landscape, marked by beauty and profound sorrow. This was a land where the chill of the mountain air carried with it the stories of old, and every rustling leaf echoed with memories of a lost past. The birth of a wanderer. The Manuel was born beneath a sky that stretched endlessly above the craggy peaks. In a modest burrow, carved into the earth by nature's patient hand, it came into being alongside a small family. Its mother, gentle yet fierce, had nurtured her offspring in the quiet recesses of a world both cruel and indifferent. The early days of the Manuel's life were filled with the simple wonder of discovery, the soft rustle of wind through the grasses, the gentle purr of its mother as she cleaned its tiny fur, and the warm, reassuring presence of siblings who romped in the safety of their hidden home. But the highlands, as beautiful as they were, offered little in the way of comfort. The Manuel's world was one of survival, a daily dance between the delicate balance of nature's bounty and its inherent brutality. Even as the young cat learned the ways of stealth and caution, it imbibed lessons of loss and pain from the very earth that cradled it. 2. A family torn apart. As the seasons changed, the once peaceful life of the Manuel's family was shattered by an unforeseen calamity. One fateful evening, when the sky blazed with the dying embers of sunset, a storm of human cruelty swept into the highlands. Poachers, driven by greed and the desire for rare trophies, descended upon the secluded wilderness. In a flurry of chaos and fear, the family was torn apart. The Manuel's mother fought valiantly, her eyes burning with a desperate protectiveness. But the world around her had grown dark and merciless. The young Manuel, barely old enough to understand the danger, witnessed the collapse of everything it had known. With a single, anguished cry muffled by the howling wind, it saw its family ripped away from its side. That night, the Manuel's heart was splintered into shards of grief. In the silence that followed the storm, the echoes of lost voices haunted its every step. The cold, empty night became a prison of memories, a perpetual reminder of love lost and innocence stolen. 3. The lonely trek of survival. Left to wander a wilderness that no longer held comfort, the Manuel set out on a solitary journey. Each step was a testament to its resilience, a silent vow to honor the memory of those it had lost by surviving against all odds. The highlands offered no refuge, only more challenges to overcome. Treacherous paths, lined with jagged rocks, bitter winds that cut like knives, and the ever-present threat of hunger. Days bled into nights, and nights into endless days, as the Manuel roamed in search of sustenance and a sliver of hope. Along the way, it encountered the indifferent forces of nature, a scorpion lurking beneath the desert brush, a hawk circling overhead, and even the harsh glare of the sun that brooked no mercy. Each encounter left the creature with both scars and new lessons, etching deep the understanding that the world was as unforgiving as it was beautiful. The Manuel's journey was not merely a struggle for survival. It was a quest to find meaning in a life marked by profound loss. As it moved silently through the wilderness, it began to wonder if the very essence of its being was destined to be intertwined with sorrow. Yet, in the quiet moments between the howls of the wind and the whisper of the leaves, a fragile spark of determination emerged. The Manuel resolved that it would carry on, not for the cruel whims of fate, but for the memory of a family that once believed in love and hope. Sir. A glimpse of compassion. Fate, with its enigmatic twists, soon introduced a new chapter to the Manuel's tale. Deep within the remote corners of America, where the rugged mountains and dense forests tell stories of forgotten legends, there lived a compassionate wildlife rehabilitator named Emma. Emma had dedicated her life to rescuing and caring for endangered creatures, nurturing their fragile spirits back to life. One crisp autumn morning, while venturing into an isolated valley to search for injured wildlife, Emma's path crossed with that of the solitary Manuel. At first, the encounter was shrouded in mutual suspicion. The Manuel, wary of human interference and scarred by its past, regarded Emma with cautious eyes. In Emma's gentle gaze, however, lay an unmistakable kindness, a warmth that transcended the pain of solitude. She moved slowly, speaking in soft, soothing tones that seemed to bridge the chasm of mistrust between them. Over days that melted into weeks, Emma continued her quiet vigil, gradually earning the Manuel's trust. Slowly, the wounded spirit of the Manuel began to glimpse the possibility of care and compassion. For Emma, the Manuel was not just another creature to be saved. It was a living testament to the raw and untamed beauty of the natural world, a symbol of resilience against the backdrop of human callousness. In the delicate interplay of their shared moments, the Manuel found a reprieve from its endless grief, a fleeting but precious taste of tenderness. Each shared glance and gentle touch became a silent conversation about pain and hope, weaving a fragile bond between the wild and the human. The shadows of the past. Yet, the journey to healing is never without its shadows. Even as Emma nurtured the Manuel back to strength, the scars of the past continued to haunt its every step. At night, when the world lay silent under a blanket of stars, the Manuel's dreams were invaded by memories of that fateful storm. The echoes of its mother's desperate cries, the violent intrusion of human greed, and the stark realization of its own helplessness. These dreams, vivid and unrelenting, reminded the Manuel of the fragility of life in the wild. It struggled to reconcile the nurturing care it now received with the savage cruelty that had once stolen its family away. There were moments when the Manuel would flee into the darkness, its heart pounding in terror, convinced that the ghosts of its past were pursuing it. Emma, ever watchful, would find it trembling beneath the vast, indifferent sky, a silent plea in its eyes for solace and understanding. In these dark hours, the wilderness seemed to echo with the lament of a lost soul, a mournful melody that spoke of irreversible loss and the cruel twists of fate. Yet even in its despair, the Manuel clung to the fragments of the bond it had formed with Emma. It was as if her presence provided a temporary sanctuary, a fleeting escape from the relentless torment of memories. Slowly, the Manuel began to realize that while the past could never be undone, it could learn to live with the bittersweet remnants of what once was. 6. Confrontation with fate. As winter descended, with its icy breath, the highlands transformed into a frozen expanse, a realm of silence and stark beauty. It was during this season of harsh extremes that fate presented the Manuel with its most formidable challenge yet. An unexpected blizzard swept across the mountains, its fierce winds and biting cold transforming the world into a swirling vortex of white despair. The Manuel, now fraught with the twin burdens of past grief and present hardship, found itself caught in the storm's unforgiving grasp. The blizzard was merciless. Snow battered every exposed inch of fur, and the once familiar landscape dissolved into a blur of white. In the heart of the storm, the Manuel struggled against the elements, its every step a battle against nature itself. Emma, too, was in peril, forced to seek shelter in the midst of the raging tempest. Their lives, so recently intertwined by hope and compassion, were now thrown into the crucible of survival. Amid the swirling chaos, the manual experienced a moment of stark clarity. With each gust of wind that threatened to carry it away, it recalled the faces of those it had lost, the gentle eyes of its mother, the playful energy of its siblings, and even the sorrowful silence of nights spent alone. In that freezing moment, the Manul understood that the true battle was not against the elements, but against the despair that sought to claim its soul. It roared silently against the storm, its spirit igniting with a fierce determination to survive, to honor the memories of the past, and to forge a future even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Emma, having found refuge in a small, abandoned cabin, kept vigil through the night. She could only imagine the silent struggle the Manul was enduring against the merciless winter. In her heart, she prayed that the resilient creature would find its way through the storm. The night stretched on interminably, a blend of hope and fear mingling with the relentless howls of the wind. Second, the dawn of renewal. When the storm finally subsided, it left behind a landscape transformed, both in its beauty and its brutality. The highlands, blanketed in a thick layer of snow, seemed to breathe a cautious sigh of relief as the first hints of dawn broke over the horizon. Emma emerged from the cabin, weary but hopeful, and began a desperate search for the Manul. In the quiet aftermath, the echoes of the blizzard still resonated like a distant memory, a reminder of the fragile balance between life and death. In a secluded clearing, Emma found the Manul, huddled beneath a fallen branch, its frail body battered by the relentless cold. The sight was both heartbreaking and awe-inspiring, a living testament to the enduring spirit of a creature forged in the crucible of loss and hardship. With gentle care, Emma approached the wounded Manul. She cradled it in her arms, whispering words of solace and promising a future filled with cautious hope. As the days turned into weeks, Emma devoted herself to nursing the Manul back to health. Their bond deepened with each passing moment, a silent understanding forming between them, a promise that even in a world marred by cruelty and loss, love could still blossom. Emma shared stories of the vibrant American wilderness, of bright autumns and sunlit meadows, painting a picture of a world where the scars of the past might eventually fade. The Manul, in its quiet resilience, listened and learned, its eyes reflecting both gratitude and a lingering sorrow that time alone could not erase. Shane. 8. A bittersweet acceptance. The healing process was neither swift nor complete. The Manul bore the marks of its tragic past, each scar a reminder of what had been lost and the price it had paid for survival. Yet, within the depths of its soulful gaze lay a flicker of something profoundly human: hope. In the presence of Emma, the Manul discovered that healing was a gradual journey, one where every tender moment and every act of kindness added a new layer to its battered heart. Together, they roamed the highlands, exploring hidden valleys and ancient trails. Emma documented their journeys with heartfelt notes and photographs, preserving memories of a creature whose silent struggles echoed the trials of many. The Manul, once a solitary wanderer adrift in a sea of sorrow, now found solace in the small acts of connection that bridged the gap between the wild and the human. It was a bittersweet metamorphosis, a delicate dance between despair and the possibility of renewal. The Manul's tale was one of survival against insurmountable odds, of a creature who had been shaped by loss and yet refused to surrender to it. Every step it took, every cautious purr in the silence of the highlands, was a testament to the resilience of the spirit. The scars it carried were not merely reminders of pain, but emblems of battles fought and a determination to persevere. Ikes. Epilogue. Whispers of the past and echoes of the future. Years passed, and the Menul grew stronger, though the memory of its lost family remained a quiet companion. Emma, too, continued her work with a steadfast commitment, each rescued creature a living tribute to the fragile beauty of life. Their shared journey became a poignant reminder that in the heart of America's vast wilderness, amid the echoes of ancient lands and the silent testimonies of lost souls, there existed an unyielding bond between all living things. In the quiet twilight of a crisp fall evening, the Manuels sat upon a rocky outcrop overlooking a valley awash with the golden hues of sunset. Its eyes, deep and reflective, gazed upon a horizon where the past and the future converged, a place where sorrow and hope intertwined like the roots of an ancient tree. The Manuel's story was not one of simple tragedy, but of a journey marked by quiet resilience, tender connections, and the profound realization that even the most heart-wrenching losses could give way to a cautious rebirth. It was in that serene moment that the wild whispered its eternal truth. Life, in all its pain and beauty, endures. Every tear shed and every scar borne was a verse in the grand poem of existence. A reminder that while the past may forever haunt the soul, it also serves as the foundation upon which hope is built. The Manuel, with its weathered yet unyielding spirit, became a living testament to that timeless truth. In a world that often seemed indifferent to the sorrow of its creatures, the Manuel found its place as a silent guardian of memory and resilience. Its journey was a stirring ballad of loss and love, of tragedy and triumph. A story that reached across the boundaries of species and touched the hearts of those willing to listen. And so, under the endless canopy of the American sky, the Manuel's tale lived on. A heart-wrenching narrative that reminded every soul that even in the depths of despair, there is always the possibility of renewal and hope. Whispers of the Wild is a story of survival and emotional rebirth, a narrative that, despite its scars, ultimately celebrates the strength of the spirit. From the bleak moments of loss to the tender beginnings of healing, every chapter in this Manuel's life echoes with the bittersweet truth that pain and hope are inextricably linked. Through the compassionate eyes of Emma and the silent resilience of the Manuel, we are invited to witness a journey where every sorrow is met with a spark of light, every heartbreak a step toward a fragile but enduring future. In the end, the Manuel's wandering through the highlands was not merely an escape from grief, but a pilgrimage toward understanding. It taught us that sometimes the deepest sorrows bear the seeds of the most profound hope, and that even in the heart of a storm, the promise of a new dawn can be found. Its legacy, etched into the fabric of the wild, continues to whisper across the ages, a soulful reminder that life, in all its raw and unfiltered beauty, endures, despite the harshest of trials.